Good afternoon and welcome to BIOT News. Today we take a look at therapeutic cloning. Should political leaders restrict this new field of research? And what about religious leaders? And finally, we take you behind the scenes and talk to several volunteers about their experience as a lab rat for such experiments. We now go live to our correspondent Sharon. Up to you, Sharon.
So thank you, Evie. And as you can see behind, 35 nations are now arguing about the banning of therapeutic cloning. And if they cannot reach an agreement, conflicts among nations would increase. Given that therapeutic cloning relies on the formation and destruction of cloned embryos for the sake of medical treatment, a vast amount of embryos are required and produced. Hence, there is a large temptation for the scientific field to grow these cloned embryos and produce a cloned human being. Since human reproductive cloning contributes to loads of ethical issues such as physical harm, dignity, and conflicts of interest. Suggested by the researchers done by the World Health Organization, more than 35 nations have adopted laws banning all kinds of cloning or just human reproductive cloning. For example, China, United Kingdom, and Switzerland. So if one nation agrees human reproductive cloning and is triggered by therapeutic cloning, this would definitely increase the political conflicts among nations. Moreover, different presidents and members in different nations have different opinions towards therapeutic cloning. Mentioned in Australia, President George Bush and members in the US Congress opposes therapeutic cloning, whereas Australia and United Kingdom allows therapeutic cloning for a few years or in the long-term future. So seeing that the debate of therapeutic cloning is so controversial and it cannot make an agreement in the short-term future, therapeutic cloning should be put aside and hence should be banned. BIOT News reporter Sharon Mo.
From a scientific point of view, there are a great number of benefits of therapeutic cloning which can potentially save a human's life. But if we look at it from a religious point of view, it is a wholly different picture. Religious people believe that God is the sole creator of this earth and everything around us, including human beings. Therefore, he is also the one responsible for the death of living things. Hence, murdering embryos just to obtain stem cells is a practice strictly prohibited by God. Some agree that an embryo has no soul, but in reality, every single cell has a sacred soul since it must develop into a living person. Therefore, foreclosing the potential fertilized egg for the sake of its constituent cells is just like destroying the physical home of a soul. In other words, it is the same as killing a person to save another person. But the main problem here is the ethical side, which is essential for people who believe in God. It is still categorized as a murdering person, although it can save humans' life. Life and death of a human being is in God's hand, so we cannot act like God to decide whether people should live or not. We can do all the medical treatments that we could to cure people from their disease, but if it's already going too far, like killing potential living cells and so on, it is already out of God's rule. We cannot turn back the destiny which God have already decided for us. That is why religious leaders should take a role in therapeutic cloning to prevent scientists from killing living cells. Phoebe from BIOT News reporting.
Today we are about to interview a patient who has suffered a lot due to stem cell research. Stem cell research requires many unfertilized eggs in order to produce a practical stem cell line. Approximately 10 billion ova from over 500,000 women are required. During the process, they suffer a lot of pain. This lady beside me has contributed a lot to stem cell research. What do you feel towards the research and during the process of egg donation?
Yeah, I've participated a few times for the stem cell research project. The company will employ us, in order to collect all the stem cell, all the ovaries for their research. I suffer a lot of pain during the process, and the pain is just unexplainable. And after those pain, the research can has 100% guarantee successful to produce the particle stem cell 9.
Okay. Thank you for sharing your experience. Okay. Now we have a doctor who has personally worked for stem cell therapies from embryonic stem cells. He has had to experience some significant failure in the treatment. Hello, Dr. Wan. Can you please tell us about your embryonic cell therapy?
Yes, sure. I'm working in a hospital for the stem cell research project. There's a patient in China who has a Parkinson's disease, and we treat him with the human embryonic stem cell. However, the stem cell doesn't cooperate with the others, and the cell ends up to forming a tumor in his brain and lead up to his death. And I found out that there's a potential dangers in the stem cell therapies, because in organ transplant, immune rejection is the main issue that we are facing. We always need to use the drugs to suppress the immune system, so the body do not have a tissue the organ rejection. But the stem cell will face the same problem, because some of the stem cell from the leftover embryos in the clinic will use worldwide. So when a new patient use the other stem cell, the immune system will treat this as a foreign material and will produce the antibiotics to kill off the cell, and this will actually worse than the actual disease. So for I think the research need to have a clear further research and a clear more relevant result before the therapies used in the medical treatment. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And that's all from us at BIOT News. Catch us later. Thank you.